Hello and welcome to Ask Me for a Trend. I'm Josh Lipton, and for the next half hour, we are breaking down the trends of today that'll move stocks tomorrow. There's a lot to keep track of, so we're focusing on what you need to know to get ahead of the curve. Here's some of the trends we're going to be diving right into. It was a big year of AI infrastructure spending in 2025. Investors are eager now to see what lies ahead for the industry. We'll look at the potential trends with a venture capitalist next. Plus, Google announcing new Gemini AI features for TVs. We're going to hear from the company's Android ecosystem president about this later in the show. And new year, new budget. We get tips to pay down holiday debt and reset our finances. Well, the AI trade is entering a new phase with investors debating whether the momentum we saw last year can carry into 2026 and whether the focus now shifts from infrastructure to software, IPOs, and monetization. For more, we're bringing in Byron Deeter. He's a partner at Bessemer Venture Partners. Byron, my friend, always great to see you, to have you on the show. Let's start big picture, Byron. All right, you think about that great AI trade and trend, which you know very well, longtime investor as you are in that theme. I'm curious, Byron, how you see that evolving now in 2026, Byron. How is it going to compare and contrast to 2025? What's going to be different?
Josh, great to be back with you. Always fun. And I do think we're entering this next phase of the AI transformation and therefore the AI trades. And that is all about AI software. The earlier phases were about the hardware stocks, the NVIDIAs, AMD, Broadcom, not to mention the data centers, the hyperscalers, et cetera. But really, it's transitioning now to two phases of software. The first is the networking and the software stack that's going to accelerate and amplify these infrastructure buildouts. If you think about NVIDIA's strength, it's always been end-to-end. It's the silicon, the software, the libraries, the networking stack. Others are entering that game now, and just one example, AMD has partnered with our portfolio company DriveNets on the networking and the software stack, and they're already showing higher performance in tokens per second, per watt, on a cost-adjusted basis, which is one of the signals that more competition's coming. And I think that's good for the market, and we're going to see software unlocking a number of NVIDIA competitors to be competitive in these ways. The second software angle is upstack, the platforms and applications that this great infrastructure build out is going to unlock. And if you think about the $550 billion annual run rate we're at now in CapEx, going to $1 trillion shortly, that carries about a 9x multiplier in terms of software enterprise value that enables. And that's what we're going to see as the investable trend in the coming years, about $45 trillion of potential software market cap if you believe this CapEx build out that people are talking about.
Let me ask you, Byron, a debate that also continues is whether we are in some type of AI bubble. And I'm just curious how you think through that, how you even define bubble, Byron. Are we in one? What would be the signs and signals that would indicate to you we're in one?
So we look at demand first, and we are in this massive buildup and wave of AI compute demand. However, we are still compute constrained, which means as prices come down, capabilities go up, you're seeing more and more use cases be unlocked, which in my mind shows that we're just scratching the surface in terms of what AI can do and means for the market. Now, the bubble term also often comes with multiples and prices, and absolutely these businesses are being priced at forward numbers and being priced to perfection, especially in the private markets where you're seeing multiples deep into the tens and in some cases, 20, 30, 40, 50x short-term revenue run rates. But it's also because you're seeing these businesses grow at rates like 400% a year. And we're starting to see mind-blowing things again, where you see demos that were never before imaginable. You're seeing, medical use cases where lives are going to be saved and outcomes are going to be, transformed for the better. You're seeing education where people can have personal tutors, and in physical AI and robotics where, Waymos are becoming mainstream and robotaxis, and you're seeing robotics use cases. And so I do believe that money is going to be lost and there's going to be some carnage along the way, but net, we're still in the early innings, and the value creation and enterprise growth that we're going to see ahead is a multiple of what we saw in the last compute cycle of cloud.
You mentioned NVIDIA earlier, Byron. I know you're a venture investor, but I am curious to get your take on that company. CEO Jensen Huang at CES this week was making some headlines and news. What do you see ahead for NVIDIA?
Yeah. They continue to set the standard. Immense respect for Jensen and what they've built. And many of our companies are big customers of theirs. But I do think that competition is building. And what you're going to see with this pairing now of software and networking capabilities with the other silicon, not only from AMD and Broadcom, but also from the hyperscalers, their own capabilities, you're going to start to see more and more competition, which is net very good for the market. We're going to have more offerings. And again, you're going to see that as this compute comes online for both training and inference, you're going to have much more capability. And I think you'll start to see the demand equation balance out a little bit and continued pull through as more and more use cases start to become available as that cost curve comes down.
What about traditional SaaS companies, Byron? That's another area you know very well. How does 2026 look to you?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of selling pressure there. And, I view it as oversold but not obsolete, meaning that there's going to be a separation. And I think the public investor money to be made is figuring out who's doing AI washing. And granted, there are a lot of companies out there that are sprinkling this AI pixie dust on their story, and they're working really hard to look like an AI company, but fundamentally are not. Separate them from the companies that are really embracing and leading in this next wave. And I believe you're going to see this reacceleration of their businesses and these kinks in the growth curve that start to reflect the AI proposition. So for the public investors, first principles diligence into their supply chains, and customer pull-through is going to be the indication there. For us on the private side, we're seeing it, daily in the reporting, and companies like Canva that have reaccelerated and are starting to talk about what is possible when you drop in AI deeply into their business.
Let's talk about the IPO market this year as well. By my friends at Barron's reminding me here, 202 companies priced IPOs in 2025. They point out a 35% increase from the prior year. What do you expect to see this year in 2026, Byron? How will it compare and contrast to 2025? Stronger, weaker, the same? And what are the variables that depends on?
I wish I had better news to project here. 2025 was an uptick, but from some very bad numbers. And if you look in aggregate over the last several years, it's largely been record-breaking to the negative side in terms of underwhelming and pretty lousy in terms of total value creation. And you pair that with what is the single best deal pipeline in history. There is amazing, high quality, large scale companies waiting on the private side that aren't yet flipping over. I do think we're going to start to see a little bit of an unlock there, but the names that people are tracking, the OpenAIs, the SpaceXs, the Anthropics, the Canvas, the Stripes, I don't think they're going to blow this door wide open in 26. Maybe a couple of them do start to touch the public waters. Maybe a Databricks joins that group. But really, I think it's going to be late 26 that sets the stage for 27, which could be a fantastic IPO year. However, on the M&A side, I'm much more bullish, and I do think existing public companies are going to need to respond to this AI pressure, and we could have a record year on the M&A side.
Finally, Byron, I got to get you out of here on this. Listen, not only a very well-known and respected venture investor, we should point out a partner and owner with the San Francisco 49ers, my team I grew up with. Eagles.
Go Niners, thank you.
Eagles, Sunday, the keys to victory, Byron.
Oh, get our healthy team on the field. We've got the talent, and the injuries this year have been brutal. And so we'll get some more guys back this week. If we're fortunate enough to extend the season several weeks, as I predict we will, we're going to get some additional players back, and we can play with anyone when we're healthy. So fingers crossed we get the chance to do that.
Byron, as always, great to see you, my friend. Thank you.
Cheers. You as well.
Stick around. Much more Ask You for a Trend still to come. Google introducing new Gemini AI features for its TVs at CES. Our very own Dan Howley sat down with Samir Samat, president of the Android ecosystem, at the conference to discuss these new features and more.
I think for us, it's with AI, it's obviously a huge shift in computing, but it's much more in our vision than just a chatbot in your pocket or your purse. It's really about delivering a truly helpful digital assistant that can be with you and help you get things done. And so in 2025, it was an incredibly transformative year. Obviously, we had some big breakthroughs in our model technology, right? And that led to some really big improvements in our products. Obviously, search and the Gemini application are getting better, but Android is taking advantage of all of that technology as well. So a couple examples that I thought would be useful to share. One is that on an Android users are 58% more likely to say that they have not received a spam or a scam call in the last month than the other operating system. And that's because we're using the best of Google's AI models to help screen out all of those bad guys. And that's moving now from AI demos and AI technology to AI utility.
Like real world application.
Right. And I think that's what everyone wants to see. Another great thing that happened in 2025 for Android is we really scaled the access to Gemini across all the different touch points in your life. So not just on your phone, but also your watch, your TV, your car, and many other points where consumers can just interact with their digital assistant in natural ways.
Is the idea here that, we've all kind of had accounts that go across devices? There's been, good versions of that, bad versions of that. Is this really kind of supposed to be the ultimate, okay, you take your all of your information with you, everything that your Google account has, and just travel across your various devices, having that kind of unique kind of experience that Gemini has to offer in all of those places? Is that kind of where this all goes?
Well, I think we think about it from the consumer standpoint. If you have a digital assistant, and that is the vision, is to create a truly helpful digital assistant, you would want that assistant to be able to be accessible in all the different parts of your life where it could be useful. And computing is in many different parts of our life now. We have our phone in our pocket or our purse, so that's one. But you also might be out for a run where you've got just your watch with you. You also might be in your living room with your family, and you might want to access some information right from your TV and continue your conversation from where you left off from before, not have to start over. And of course, if you're like me and you have a long commute, you may want to use some of that time in the car to either learn something or get some things done with your assistant, or just figure out where a great place to stop is on that road trip, on the way. And it should know about your likes and dislikes and understand that you were researching last night where the kids might enjoy taking a 20 or 30 minute break. And all of that should come together across all the different form factors in your life in a really seamless way. And that's what Android can help to bring.
What kind of uptake are you seeing with users? Are they recognizing that Gemini is, the new kind of, not new, but the AI assistant for Google? What's the brand awareness like? Obviously, for folks like us, I mean, you obviously know what Gemini is, but what has that kind of awareness been like for most people?
I think Gemini growth has been great. It's been, I think, pretty widely reported that Gemini is growing, but I think also it's beyond being just a chatbot. And that's, I think, really important. When we talk about how we're integrating the technology into all the different surfaces that we have, it's really where things get, I think, pretty exciting. So I mentioned, of course, that using our models to help prevent people from getting scam and spam calls. Okay, that's one example. But going beyond that, we just announced here at CES some work we're doing on the TV with Google TV. And one thing I'm really excited about is this feature that we have on the TV called Deep Dive. And that's where you can be sitting in the living room and you can, with your family, and you can say, hey, I want to learn about the Northern Lights. Like, what are these things, right? And, you can find YouTube videos and all of that, but maybe you have a very specific question that you want to go really deep on with this. And you want it to be current. Where can I see them now, and how do they really work, and where this year will they be great? Well, there might not be a piece of content created to help give you that information. Gemini can actually put all that together for you in a multimedia presentation, which you and your family can watch together right there in just a matter of seconds. So that's pretty awesome. And I think it's really those kinds of utility capabilities that you'll start to see across all of our different form factors, and bring AI to life for people.
I think it's also probably a good way to settle arguments. If you have friends over, you can just say, okay, let's find out what Gemini is going to say, and you'll be able to do that. I think one of the coolest features that we just saw in this demo with the Google TV and Gemini is just the ability to eventually control the settings on your TV, and that's such, I think, a pain point for so many people. You buy a TV, you see it at the store, you get it home, oh, it doesn't look like I wanted it to. This eventually will help you tell the TV, okay, raise the volume on dialogue, or change the brightness settings. At what point do we get to where you can just say, hey, make this look as good as possible?
Well, that's where I think we need to get to, right? And I think what's amazing about all the TV manufacturers is that they, with panel technology and with everything they can do, they are making TVs which can really enhance the image that you're seeing, the video that you're seeing in so many different ways. But it does take a user right now to figure out how to navigate all that. What we're building into Google TV is the ability for you just to say in natural language, with all your ums and ahs, like I typically have when I'm talking, you can just ask, well, how do I make this picture better? Or I can't hear what the commentator is actually saying. Can you boost that for me? And Gemini will go through those settings and make that adjustment for you. It's pretty incredible, and it makes life way easier.
As a millennial, I think the main thing is turn on closed captions. I don't know where that came from, but now I just watch everything with closed captions.
That's a huge trend.
It is, yeah. I mean, I started it just because I was watching a British show and I couldn't understand what anyone was saying, despite it being the same language. So sorry to all our British viewers. I apologize.
You heard it here first. The usage of closed captions is way up.
It is.
Confirmed by Google.
Confirmed. Samir, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Really appreciate your time.
Take care.
Thanks.
Breaking news, the White House telling Reuters that it's considering options for acquiring Greenland, including, quote, utilizing the U.S. military. This comes after Trump cited Chinese and Russian activity around the island on Sunday, saying the U.S. needs Greenland for national security purposes. European allies warned against Trump's increasing rhetoric around Greenland in a joint statement earlier today, saying they will, quote, not stop defending the island's territorial integrity. This, of course, comes after the U.S. ousted Venezuela's former president, Nicolas Maduro. Trump saying of the situation in the South American country, quote, we're in charge. Stick around. Much more Asking for a Trend still to come. Shoppers spent big this past holiday season, but with a whole new year ahead, it's time for a fresh financial reset and start the new year feeling confident about your money. Here to discuss is financial educator and New York Times best-selling author Tiffany Aliche. Tiffany, it is good to see you. So there may be some viewers watching right now, Tiffany, and they're thinking, you know what, I spent over the holidays, maybe I even spent a bit too much on eating out and holidays and gifts and piled up some debt I don't need. What should they do now, Tiffany? What should be the game plan, the strategy you would advise?
Well, first I say don't shame it, tame it, because I know you're feeling bad, but one of the things you can do is that you can freeze the damage. You can literally freeze your credit cards or call the credit card companies and ask them to freeze your card. Oftentimes you can do this online as well, because the credit card is a shovel. We want to stop digging in that ditch, lean into your debit card and cash until you can get right with your debt. Things you can also do is pick a debt payment strategy. So are you going to do the snowball method, which is when you pay off the debt with the lowest balances first? Or are you going to do the avalanche method, which allows you to pay off the debt with the highest interest rates first? Either way, you kind of want to pick a strategy and automate it. I like for people to start with snowball because you get this early success and then end in avalanche. Also, create a debt exit fund, right? So this is what that means. I want you to cut out just one expense for the next 60 to 90 days. So it might be a subscription. It might be, the gym. Are you really going? And for the 60 to 90 days, I want you to put that money toward your debt. Okay. And so it's not forever. This is just temporary. Something else is that I know we all create these kind of New Year's resolutions, but I want you to think about creating resolutions that are more so about goals, not guilt. A lot of our resolutions are steeped in guilt. So instead of saying, I'm going to have $1,000 by March, I want you to say something like, the position I'm going to be in when it comes to this credit card is I'm going to pay off one card in 90 days. And so specific goals that are not steeped in guilt. And focus on one priority at a time. So many of us are like, I want to do this, I want to do this. We can't all walk and chew gum when it comes to our finances. So are you going to focus on an emergency fund? Are you going to focus on a specific card that you're going to pay off? Pick a specific thing and then a time frame, at least 60 days. And then once you accomplish that, you move on to the next thing. So multitasking when it comes to your money, honestly, sometimes it just means slower progress. Automate, automate, automate. automation is the new discipline. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about just creating a simple budget. Budgets are not there to restrict, they're there to support you. And so you can, like I said, review the next 60 to 90 days. Ask yourself, where from my budget, and I'm going to remove one of these expenses that I can add back once I accomplish paying off something, and celebrate the awareness and celebrate the wins. You do that, and you can have a healthy, at least first few months of the new year.
Tiffany, I only have about 60 seconds left, but I want to get this in there. You talk about how it's important to make money a team sport. What does that mean, Tiffany?
Well, that means that, one, you're not supposed to be doing money by yourself. So whether it's a financial advisor, whether it's an accountant, or at the very least an accountability partner, while you're doing the next 60 to 90 days, get your work mom, your bestie, your husband, your wife, whoever, to say, we're going to work on these goals together. You tell me mine, I'll tell you yours. We'll meet regularly and we'll work on this collectively.
Tiffany, great to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on today's Ask for a Trend. Be sure to come back tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern for all of the latest market moving stories affecting your wallet.